here on this wintry day looking for a Mr. William.
Can't you hear him? Can't you hear him?
Anyway.
The chimney sweeps! The chimney sweeps!
Anyways, this just in. A crazy man was spotted running across the quad. A man by the name William Blake. Miss Tabitha Smith, he was chasing you. Can you tell me something about this? You okay? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am here in England speaking to you, two young victims of a Mr. William Blake. Tell me what you see today.
That man called me a harlot.
And
I've only been married 5 times.
Well then, can you tell me anything? Okay. That's just...
Can't you hear him? Can't you hear him? The screams! The screams! Can't you hear him? The screams! The screams! The screams! Please. Please. Please.
That's what you would call a madman by the name of William Blake, and he's been traumatizing some victims here in England. How do you feel about that, Mr. Blake? And welcome to 10 at 10. I'm Sarah Butts.
And I'm Jamie Payne.
And this is tonight's top story, A Visions of a Madman. Tonight we are talking about a certain man named William Blake who's been crazy, running over people, victims just traumatized. He's left us a letter, and tonight me and Miss Jamie are going to read it to you.
I wander through each chartered street, near where the chartered Thames does flow, and mark in every face I meet, marks of weakness, marks of woe. In every cry of every man, in every infant's cry of fear, in every voice, in every band, the mind-forged manacles I hear.
How the chimney sweepers cry, and every blackening church appalls, and the hapless soldier's sigh runs in blood down palace walls. But most through midnight streets I hear, how the youthful harlot's curse blasts the newborn infant's tear, and blots with plagues the marriage hearse.
Hello, I'm Jamie Payne, and welcome back to News 10 at 10. You may remember a couple of weeks ago how we first brought news to you about a man named William Blake and his poem London. Well, we now know more about this man named William Blake and his poem London. Turns out this man named William Blake is a published author. His poem London was first published in a book called Songs of Experience. Now this was a much more fully developed work than his previous book, Songs of Innocence. When Blake composed these poems found in the collection Songs of Experience, he seemed to have removed the blinders from his eyes. This marked measurable progress in Blake's outlook on life. In many ways, Blake's experience in life had brought a better understanding and comprehension of evil and its power, as well as the pain that people may endure throughout their lifetimes. According to the scholar Chang-Wan Zhan in the journal Theory and Practice in Language Studies, London is the most outstanding poem in all of Songs of Experience. This could be due to Blake's blatant social criticism within the poem. In this poem, Blake recalls his personal observations of the city of London and gives an all-inclusive picture of the many physical and spiritual problems that plague the city. Now, London is a lyric poem, which essentially means that the poem was meant as a song. Lyric poems have no restriction of meter whatsoever. The meter in this poem tends to shift, however is kept to 2 different styles of meter. Those are iambic tetrameter and trochaic tetrameter. This choice of meter can be justified in saying that the changes aid in emphasizing particular lines in the poem. The scholar we cited earlier, Zahn, states, the alteration of the stresses on the syllables in each line make the poem sound like the striking of an anvil, and also helps the poem to be more powerful. One of the most striking characteristics of this poem is the anvil music. This poem has a rhyme scheme that is very structured. This gives the work a musical flair, which is the case with most lyric poems. This particular rhyme scheme is A-B, A-B, C-D, C-D. In addition to the structured rhyme scheme, the poem exhibits a use of other impressive writing techniques. The first aspect is Blake's use of capitalization. This is used to imply that the reader should look more deeply into the word rather than taking it at just face value. The second is Blake's word choice. He utilizes words that contain imagery in order to put a picture in the mind of a reader. In his book, William Blake and the Productions of Time, Andrew Cooper explains one of Blake's most spectacular writing techniques. He states in his book, "More dramatically, the visual hieroglyph formed by the opening letters of London's third stanza, H-E-A-R, reinforces the synesthesia of seeing and hearing described within that stanza. The stanza states, how the chimney sweepers cry, every blackening church appalls, and the hapless soldier's sigh runs in blood down pileless walls." A third notable technique in Blake's use of repetition throughout the poem. London contains an anaphora, which is the repetition of a word or phrase at the beginning of a clause. Lines 5 through 7 of London read, "In every cry of every man, in every infant's cry of fear, in every voice, in every band." This and the other uses of repetition throughout the poem add to the implication of the redundancy of a citizen in London. Ladies and gentlemen, this just in. We now have a story about how William Blake's poem London came to be. An exclusive interview with William Blake determined that London came to him on a night he could not sleep. The stress from his surroundings in his city of London was catching up with him. He had a vision that showed an elderly man being led down a dark tunnel by a young boy. In the vision, he saw a faint light shining on the faces of the two characters. Upon waking, Blake immediately sketched out the image the vision had provided him. The words for the poem followed quickly after. Blake took this vision as a sign that London's fate was not sealed. However, it would take many years of hard work and bitter suffering for the city to reach a better place in the future.
We read this poem as a team, and we must say that our reaction to the poem was very saddening. This poem evoked a ton of emotion throughout our studio. Upon further investigation of the poem, we found an illustration that Blake printed to go along with the poem. This particular illustration is from the Dover edition of Songs of Experience. The print from London shows a young boy leading an old man through a dark tunnel. Darkness surrounds them in the form of smoke and other pollutants. The only light is coming from an unseen source and is shining on the faces of the two males. Here at News 10 at 10, believe that this symbolizes that no matter how dark the city of London is at the moment, there's always hope for the future. Though we aren't so naive. We know that the people of London will have to endure many more years of suffering in order to reach a better place.
Wandered through each chartered street, near where the chartered Thames does flow, marking every face I meet, marks of weakness, marks of woe, in every cry of every man, in every infant's cry of fear, in every voice, in every band, the mind-forged manacles I hear. How the chimney sweepers cry, every blackening church appalls, and the hapless soldier's sigh runs in blood down palace walls. But most through midnight streets I hear how the youthful harlots curse, blasts a newborn infant's tear, and blights with plagues the marriage hearse.
Interviews with Blake's family and friends have revealed that there may be more to this man than we already knew. The biggest influence on Blake was his father. His father followed teachings of a man named Emanuel Swedenborg. Emanuel was a scientist, but even though this was his profession, he believed that he was seeing visions of an angel. Blake, interested in this story, took this information and followed it throughout his life, even to the point where he himself may have claimed that he was a prophet. All of this combined hurt his reputation greatly. He became known as a radical and irrational person. His poetry and artwork were viewed in much the same way. People began to notice that there seems to be madness in his greatness.
Welcome back to 10 at 10. My name is Tabitha Smith.
And I'm Lindsay Williamson.
And tonight we have an interesting story for you. If you will recall, several weeks back, one of our newscasters located a letter left by Madman William Blake after he went on a parade of traumatizing helpless victims all up and down the park. Today we would like to bring you more information regarding this letter.
I wandered through each chartered street, near where the chartered Thames just flow, and mark in every face I meet, marks of weakness, marks of woe. In every cry of every man, in every infant's cry of fear, in every voice, in every band, the mind-forged manacles I hear.
How the chimney sweepers cry, every blackening church appalls, and the hapless soldier's sigh runs in blood down palace walls. But most through midnight streets I hear, how the youthful harlot's curse blasts the newborn infant's tear, and blights with plagues the marriage hearse.